Um, I might be having difficulties, but I'm hoping I get everything fixed. We'll see. I do have another computer coming from my mom. It's a couple years old, but maybe I can offload some things from this computer because I have all my 3D printing equipment and stuff all hooked up to this. So maybe if I can offload some of that, I can have some space on this computer that will make my computer function a little better. So fingers crossed. Um, if you want to help find on getting a better computer, my link for buying me a coffee will be down at the bottom. So all the crazy things I have to do with, I have like so many different cords hooked up here and stuff like that just to be able to function. But I do what you gotta do, you know what I mean? So go ahead, let's go ahead and get into it and go from there. I'll go down and back up
The
so I
United
can get
States
you
is a
started.
mess right now, so I'm just gonna start talking about things that I know to be true. Cause who gonna stop me, boo? We do, in fact, have the ability to teleport. You can either use tech for this, or you can use your spiritual gifts. I'm not gonna go into the tech part because I'm not a tech expert, but just know it exists, and not everyone is privy to that information, even if you are in tech. But we have the ability to teleport. If you're not into the supernatural, if you're not into multi-dimensions, please scroll, because like I said, I'm not going to argue with anybody. Our consciousness itself is an interdimensional entity. However, our bodies and specifically our brains are not. Your brain was put here to help you. Though many people who are tapping into the gifts look at it as a jail, it is actually here to help regulate what you see. Because when you see too many things, you are most likely going to go into psychosis. That is why when people do things like DMT, marijuana, or meditate, anything that gets your brain into a slower state, you are slowing down those restraints. So now you're able to tap into the other realities around that you could not see before because those restraints were in place. Now, there are steps to teleportation. You just can't instantly start teleporting everywhere. The first phase of this is when you start getting your intuition back. Now, let's be clear. Intuition is not your internal thoughts or pattern recognition, especially advanced. Those are separate things. So this is why you have to start using discernment and actually remember you do have thoughts. Sometimes the voice that you hear that is literally your thought. Sometimes if you've been through a lot of trauma, you have great pattern recognition skills. That is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about accessing information that is not readily available to you, not through pattern recognition and not through your inner dialogue. Why is this phase important? It's because you are tapping into the pathways of you and your current timeline. The teleportation is tapping into the pathways of everything that has existed, is currently existing, and will exist. You can't get into that phase without tapping into the current timeline that is yours. You will start to get intuitive hit. The next phase, you're going to start getting deja vu, very strong deja vu, and you can start to see your own timeline. You'll start to see things that are going to happen for you, and then it plays out and you have that deja vu moment. And that's also when you start tapping to dreams as well. Third phase is when you start tapping into telepathy with others, and not just with people, with plants, with animals, with everything else. Because you're no longer just tapping into the pathways of yours in your current timeline, you're also tapping into the pathways of others. We're not expanding your consciousness in all directions. Next phase is being able to astral project. That is, be able to take your consciousness, physically remove it outside of your body, where you can truly be in two places at once, because your body will be asleep, meditating, whatever it is, and your consciousness will literally be in another place. The next phase is energy manipulation. So being able to move objects without touching them or just with your mind. So you start to understand that the energy in your body can be manipulated, and you can start to use that energy to manipulate things, places, people around you. This stage that I'm going to list is going to be a leap up from that, but it's being able to move things across time and space. And before people say it doesn't, I've seen this happen in front of my face. It can absolutely happen. You just have to be extremely advanced for that, but you can actually move things across space and time, almost to the final stage. Then through mastery, I mean, some people can do this all their lives and still not reach the final level, but it is absolutely teleportation, because you're no longer just moving objects across space or time, or you're not just moving your consciousness through space or time. You can actually physically move yourself through space or time. But I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in there. Technology, in my opinion, is your greatest help into getting to that final state. You can do with this information whatever you decide. The United States is a mess.
Hello. Looking to see. This is the office that has the elected prosecutor in it.
Yes.
Great. I'd like to inspect the published procedures manual.
Public procedures manual?
Yeah, the procedures manual.
For what?
Public records.
I'm not sure that's something I can get.
Well, it's supposed to be prominently displayed.
Is there something I can help you with?
Well, yeah, I need to look at the procedures manual
For what reason?
because I need to look at it.
Okay.
It's meant for public consumption. It has to be prominently displayed.
What's the purpose?
I don't need to explain my purpose. Section 80 says you can't ask for my purpose.
Is there a reason why you're here, though?
To inspect the procedures manual.
Okay, so you don't have a case or anything?
I'm not saying if I do or don't, I just need to inspect the procedures manual.
Okay. And you don't have a reason for wanting that?
Sir, when I say you can't ask that lawfully, that's literally what Section 80 says. I suggest stopping.
Okay. Well, you're clearly coming here trying to start something.
No, I want to inspect the procedure. Sir, I've repeated multiple times I'd like to inspect the procedures manual. Will you go please get it for me?
I'll see what I can do.
Thanks.
Hi there. Here's the public records request form. So whatever you're requesting, I just need you to fill it out for me, and then I can get it turned in for you.
Well, I'm not yet ready to make the record request. I'm looking to inspect the tool that's meant to aid me in making a record.
I don't know what you're talking about, so you need to write down what you're requesting, and then I can see if we can get that for you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I show you what I'm talking about?
Why don't you tell me what you're talking about?
Sure. In Section 40 of the Records Act, there's something referred to as the procedures manual regarding records. In Section 40, it says each local agency, and it defines each separate office, for example, an elected prosecutor, as having their own separate published procedures manual. It has a description of things like the central and any field offices, as well as a list of other things that are supposed to be in it. It literally says it has to be prominently displayed at the central office.
I don't know. Let me go check on that. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll go.
Are you the pro?
I'll go find out. Hold on.
This office is out of control.
Sorry, we don't have a procedure manual that we post. So I don't know what you're talking about. I can't give you something.
Are you the
that I
public
don't know
records
what
officer?
you're talking about. No, I'm not the public records officer.
Who is the pro for the attorney's office?
If you fill this out requesting to find out who the public records officer is, that will get you to that place.
Holy smoke! So you're saying you're violating
Sir, I
section
don't have
580?
time. You can fill that out.
You don't
if
have time
like.
to provide assistance?
No, because you're asking me for something that I don't know what you're talking
Why
about.
don't you- Can I get a
don't
manager?
have time.
I'll take a manager, please. Thanks.
Is there anything else we can help you with?
Man, the problems that are going on are so far above your pay grade right now. I'd say you're safely off the hook at this point. This is the prosecutor's fault at this point,
Okay, is there anything else that I can help you with?
not you.
No? Okay.
I'm waiting for a manager right now.
Probably not gonna happen.
She went to go get one. I strongly encourage the prosecutor or his manager to fix this.
Sure.
It's really awkward when the prosecutor chooses to break the law. That's kind of weird. Honestly, kind of the last place you'd expect it, but here we are. He might want to just kind of fix that. You know, the whole reading thing, and, reading stuff, words,
Yeah.
comprehension, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a hard one.
The employees in this office are uncomfortable.
Are you the uncomfortable police?
Huh?
Are you the uncomfortable police?
No, I'm just court security, but I'm telling you what they just told me. They called and said, please, if you don't have any business, then you're welcome to move on to a different part of the courthouse. They're just asking that you remove yourself in front of this window.
Ooh, yeah. We've got a lot of problems here. What I would suggest is to let them know that until they comply with state law, I am complying with state law. I'm trying to get a public records request done.
Okay.
Before I make the public records request, I have to inspect the published procedures manual. I've asked 4 times now for the published procedures manual, which they're statutorily obligated to have prominently displayed. Now, you probably got some good readers on you like I do too. Let's just take a gander about here and look around. I'm not seeing a prominently displayed procedures manual. It's a little awkward when, as a journalist, locals reach out to me and tell me the prosecutor's committing crimes, and then I get here and I'm like, by golly gee willikers, he is committing crimes. He's concealing a document, a Class C felony. So maybe if you'd like to do something, you could open the door, get the magic bracelets out, escort him out in cuffs.
I don't have authority. I'm just security in the building.
You could call sheriff's deputy.
You're welcome to do that if you like.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get right on it. So the point is I'm actually conducting lawful business. So what I'm suggesting is I'm not being unruly, disorderly, rude. Heck, I don't even swear, man. I'm calm. This is my voice.
Okay.
I'm doing lawful business. If they're telling me I'm trespassed, which requires me to have broken some sort of law in order to request the trespass since I'm lawfully present, you could detain me. Say, hey, you're detained for fill in the blank crime, and since that's the case, we're going to trespass you. I mean, you could do that. I wouldn't suggest it. Probably.
I couldn't because I don't have the authority as
Well, I'm just saying
building
the county.
security.
Yeah, I'm just saying the
That would
county.
be the sheriff's office.
Yeah. So, are they asking me to leave?
They just stated that it's making staff uncomfortable having you stand here and filming them.
Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a manager.
Okay. Then I would say, just for an information for you,
Sure.
at 5 o'clock, the building shuts down.
Well, this closes at 4:30 anyways.
Oh, well, yeah,
So.
but the building's at 5.
Yeah.
So if you're still out here,
Yeah, I'm just trying to get assistance. I mean, heck, if you don't mind providing assistance, if you want to go let a manager or the prosecutor, someone in there know, I'm just trying to utilize the Public Records Act to get something done. I mean, the quickest way to, quote, get rid of me, if that's what they want to do, I don't know, just abide by the law. I mean, it's a little painfully awkward to have to explain that to the prosecutor's office. I mean,
so you know
Jeez.
way more about laws pertaining to that than I will ever pretend to know. So I wouldn't even comment on that. I'm sure whatever you know, and that's great. But as court security, all I can say is that at a certain time tonight, we're going to have to clear this building.
oh, yeah.
What you do between now and then, that's completely up to you.
I mean, my plan for the evening is not to cleverly hide up in the ceiling and.
We don't. I just heads up. We have to clear the building at a certain.
Yeah, no,
Do you want to spend your afternoon
Well, I just want
at
to
a
get out.
it's kind of a stalemate right now because I don't know if they're going to give you that stuff or not. That's
Well, I'm going to wait till it closes at 4:30, and if they don't comply with the law, and I know I get it, elected officials don't like to bend the knee and kiss the ring, but if they don't bend the knee and kiss the ring before 4:30, then I'll just have to go get an attorney and deal with it that way. I guess if the prosecutor wants to go down that road, I just don't want him to say, "Oh, I was in the middle of a meeting, and 10 minutes later I was clear," and I totally would have helped him out. So now I have to wait.
Whatever you want to, if you want to do that, that's well within your rights.
Sure.
Obviously. As long as you're not banging on the glass, not being disruptive or anything like that. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I might knock, but that's not banging. You know, knocking is knocking.
It would be if it's disruptive to their duties and what they're doing in there, then we gotta. The trajectory of things going to change. But as long as you're just waiting for a response from them,
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep, if they don't.
they know you're here, so you don't need to contact them any more than
Well,
they know you're here.
now they don't know that I'm here.
Um,
For all I know at this point, or for all they know, I've walked out of here. So the problem is when you step away, there's no way for them to know if I'm still here. So I'm going to have to keep ringing the bell or knocking on the window. So,
if you got to do that, you got to do it.
yeah.
So, but anyway, we'll.
All right, man. Appreciate it. And by the way, I appreciate the cordial conversation.
No.
Thanks, man. Hello. Looking to see this.
Back to the Future. Could it actually happen with a real time machine?
In 2022, a man missing for 29 years knocked on a stranger's door in rural Ohio, carrying a wooden box full of journals, diagrams, and evidence that shouldn't exist. His name? was Mike Markham. The last time anyone saw him was 1997, the night he stepped into a machine he built inside his own garage and vanished. When investigators reached the property, they found the garage burned to the ground, melted copper, destroyed transformers, and a 6-foot circular burn pattern scorched into the concrete. No body, no remains. Just a handwritten note inside a metal toolbox that read, "It's not about time, it's about how you see things." For 3 decades, the world assumed he was dead. But Mike Markham came back, older, exhausted, carrying proof.
I was devastated. I thought if I could build a time machine that I could go back and see him again and tell him what was going to happen. Maybe save his life.
Not of time travel, but of something that makes time travel look like a children's story. What he discovered during those 29 missing years is why you need to hear this from the beginning. The discovery. Mike Markham grew up in rural Missouri in the 1970s and 80s. No degrees, no funding. Just a kid dangerously obsessed with electricity who scavenged transformers from junkyards, taught himself electronics from library books, and spent every free hour building anything that could throw a spark. And sometime in the early 1990s, that obsession led him to something he was never supposed to find. He had built a Jacob's ladder, 2 metal rods in a V-shape, high voltage, an arc of electricity climbing upward between them. Standard physics equipment, nothing unusual. But one night, working alone in that garage, Mike positioned a cheap laser pointer to shine through the climbing arc. The hum of the transformers shifted pitch. The arc, which should have been chaotic and unstable, suddenly tightened, steadied, became something almost deliberate. And then Mike noticed something no textbook had ever described. A steel washer sitting on the workbench near the arc flickered, not moved by vibration, not knocked by airflow. It was there, and then for a fraction of a second, it wasn't. Then it was back. He froze. Tried it again. Screws, coins, small metal objects placed between the rods, and sometimes, for just a heartbeat, they vanished. No sound, no movement, just a brief, impossible absence. A hole in reality where a solid object had been. And then the object was back, exactly where it had been, as if nothing had happened. Except the air in the garage smelled sharper, ozone, and something else Mike couldn't name, something that made the hair on his arm stand straight up. That was the moment Mike Markham's life split in two, everything before and everything after. But here's the catch. He had no idea what he'd found. He just knew it was real, and he needed someone to tell him he wasn't losing his mind. The call in January 1995, Mike picked up the phone and called Coast to Coast AM, the legendary late-night radio show hosted by Art Bell. A man who had heard every kind of impossible claim from every kind of caller for years. Mike was nervous, stumbling over words. He told Art he'd built a device in his garage that could make objects vanish from reality for fractions of a second, and then reappear unchanged. Art leaned in. How do you know the object disappears? Could it just be an optical illusion from the arc? Mike's answer made Art go quiet. I know it disappears because I can feel it, Mike said. When the field hits right, everything in the garage feels wrong. The air feels like it's holding its breath. And I'm not the only one who notices. My dog won't come near the garage anymore. Birds won't land on the roof. Something about that field makes living things want to be somewhere else. Dead air. A real pause. Then Art said carefully, Mike, I want you to document everything. Bring in witnesses. Record video. And call me back. Now, if you're the kind of person who watches stories like this, you need to subscribe right now. Because what Mike did next changed everything. And this story is nowhere close to over. Over the next year, Mike's experiments escalated dangerously. He wasn't satisfied with making objects flicker. He wanted to understand it, control it, amplify it. And for that, he needed more power, far more than his scavenged equipment could deliver. In the summer of 1995, he stole 6 industrial transformers from a rural electrical substation and wired them into his garage. When he fired the system up, it drew so much power it caused a brownout across several neighboring properties. Lights flickered for a quarter mile. Utility investigators traced the surge straight to Mike's garage. He was arrested, 60 days in county jail. And get this, those 60 days made him worse.
Back to the Future. Could it actually happen with a real time machine?
Everyone needs to experience being around a billionaire on vacation in St. Bart's at least once. Because let me tell you, the way these guys are moving is not normal. Listen to this. My family took a vacation to St. Bart's like a few years ago. And it was really nice. It was great. We go to this one public beach. It's a public beach. People just bring their own towels, whatever. And there's trees on the beach that are separating the beach from these giant mansions that are like basically on the beach. So it's a public beach with giant mansions, and these billionaires live in these mansions, and everyone knows who lives there. It's this guy Roman Abramovich and like a bunch of Russian oligarchs. So we're chilling on this beach, having a good time with our family, and then all of a sudden, a little child runs out of the bushes and goes to start playing in the water. My mom is like, you should go talk to that kid and see if he speaks Russian, because my family speaks Russian. So they might come in handy. Who knows? So I'm like, I don't know. What is my mom on? Whatever. I'm gonna go up to this kid. I start talking to him. I say, hey, do you speak Russian? We start talking in Russian. He's like, yeah, my house is right there. Blah, blah, blah. Our yacht is around the corner. Like, you should come. I'm like, what is this dude on? He's telling me about his Connect at Adidas that gets him all his shoes and like all this random ass yap. I come back to my mom. I see she's talking to some woman. It turns out to be that kid's mom, and they're planning for us to go on a hike like the next day. I'm not a big hiking guy, but whatever. It sounds cool. I would love to, hang out with a billionaire potentially. So it sounds great. We make plans. My mom, yaps with this woman's mom, and we make plans to go on a hike with this family the next day. This is where things get actually nuts. So we meet up with them on some like random location, like literally at the side of a road. Like we basically pull over the side of the road, and like they're like, yeah, this is where the hike starts. There's a massive, scary-looking like dude with them. That's clearly their bodyguards. It's like guy you don't want to mess with, and he's holding all their shit. And the kid is wearing Yeezys on this hike. So this is not even the craziest part. This is not even near the craziest part. We start going on this hike. We're walking like in the middle of like the woods, basically, but it's like a beach island. So I don't know. It's like kind of tropical or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, where can we possibly be going in the middle of the woods? We walk to the end of this hike. We get to a secluded beach that you can't access any other way besides hiking or taking a boat to this beach. We get to this beach. There is towels set up everywhere, tents, coolers, 5 like staff members. There's a few boats in the water, jet skis. It is insane. There's like a full-on, just like personal beach club set up just for them with their staff members, like all wearing t-shirts with their yacht on it. It's insane. We get to the beach. The kid doesn't say a word. He stands there and makes a T-pose like this, puts his arms out. Two guys run up to him and start spraying sunscreen all over him. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. The kid did not say a word. Next thing, I'm building a sandcastle with this kid, right? We're building a sandcastle. He calls over one of his workers. He just, one of these. The worker comes over. He goes, your job is to build this wall. Dead serious. The guy goes on all hands and knees. This guy's like maybe 25 years old. Starts building a sandcastle for this kid. He gets another guy to come over. Yo, come over here. I forgot my GoPro in my room. That's all. Walkie-talkie comes out. Roger. A fucking speedboat pulls up. The guy gets on the speedboat. Goes away. 5 minutes later, comes back. Boom. Here's your GoPro, son. What? This is the craziest part. I still haven't met the Big Daddy. The Big Papa. We just met the wife and her son and daughter. The daughter, I don't know. She was also spoiled or whatever. But listen, when the pops pulled up, he came on a separate boat with more crew. It came out, there was like a little a ramp that came off the front of his boat, so his little footsies didn't have to get wet. And then, I'm telling you, the ramp wasn't long enough to get actually out to the beach, so two guys picked him up and carried him onto the beach. I'm not kidding. This guy was like a slightly fat dude, and this is the funniest part. So my family, like, we're on this beach enjoying all these luxuries. You know, we're eating all these snacks, we're eating all these Coca-Colas, or drinking whatever the beverages are in the coolers and shit. The billionaire guy, he comes off his little boat, he gets carried onto the beach. He just wants to relax on the beach with all his amenities, right? He opens the cooler. Oh, where's the Coca-Cola? Oh, where the fuck is the Coke? This dude crashes out, bro. In Russian, like, where's the Coca-Cola? Meanwhile, me and my dad are just like quietly fucking sipping our Cokes, like, oh, fuck, bro. We just blew our shot with this guy. He was not the nicest guy. I mean, I pretty much gave you guys all the juicy details, but we did not end up going onto their yacht after that. But it was pretty chill.
Now, one of the biggest mysteries in TV history has got to be when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air switched one of their main characters, Aunt Viv, from this actress named Janet to this actress right over here named Daphne. Janet was iconic, but the reason they switched her over to Daphne was because Janet had a problem, and her problem's name was William Smith, the star of the show. You see, even though Will and Aunt Viv got along on the show, off the show, it was a whole different ball game. They was not friends. You see, Will was a 21-year-old star. In his words, he acted like it. Aunt Viv was a seasoned actress, and she did not take no BS. She was like her character in that regard. So these two personality types did not mix. She would tell him, look, get out your trailer. It's time to work. William would be like, excuse me, do you know who I am? And they was not cool. So here's where things start to get wicked. It's time to renew contracts.